Okay, so now once you've decided on your topic and you've talked to your teacher and let him or her know which mission you're going to actually research and work on. The next step is to go back to a Google search. This is the easiest way to find more information on your mission. So the mission that I chose again was San Francisco. Oh, I spelled that wrong. San Francisco Solano. There it is. Okay. And again, once you research it, you're going to have all kinds of information pop up. And this is where you just have to go through and start clicking on websites and reading through them and seeing if it's what you want. For this particular research I did, and I've already looked at some of these websites, this first one brings up the Catholic Church. That's not what I want. I want a website that tells me about Mission San Francisco Solano. And so I've actually gone through and looked at several of these websites already, and the one that I found that had the most information was this one down here. So again, this took me a good few minutes to go through and find a good website that had the information I wanted. And when you get ready to do this, make sure you set aside the time to really sit down and read it. Okay. So what I did is I found this website here. It has some history behind the mission. It tells how the mission was established. It tells about some of the religion and some of the other secularization. It tells about what happened to the mission after it stopped being used as a mission, how it was sold off and was used for other purposes. And then about the restoration of the mission. And as you can see down here, they have several resources. This is kind of like the bibliography that you're going to do at the end, where they listed some of their different resources where they found all their information. And on this particular report, I might actually go to some of these websites and find more information. But once you do find a really good source, and it will more than likely be 2 or 3 good sources, then your next step is to go and draft, make your rough draft, make your planning page. And so the planning page that I'm using here, I just took a piece of paper and I made one box here at the top that I put my topic in, which is the name of the mission, San Francisco Solano. And I put the date that it was started, 1823. So this is going to be my topic paragraph. Okay. Now a topic paragraph, it doesn't have to be huge. It can be, 2, maybe 3 sentences. But then each of these are going to be the ideas for my 4 body paragraphs. Okay, so I'm going to have my introduction. I'm going to have one paragraph that just talks about how it was built. Now remember, these are just going to be what we call quick jots. We're not going to be writing full-on sentences here. As I went through and I read that website and I researched this mission, I was just putting quick jots down to remind me of what I want to write when I actually get to my full paragraph, my full report. So again, this is just quick jots. We say jot, jot, not a lot. So the first paragraph here is built. I'm going to write about why it was built, where it was built. And as I was reading through, Father Altamira, he actually was the one that wanted to build this mission. It was built. It was the only mission that was built without permission from the Catholic Church, which is actually another jot I can put down here. I'm going to put permission, and I'm going to put a line through it, just because that's another quick fact that I can add to this built paragraph. But again, all of these ideas I found when I was reading through. So it might be kind of nice when you're doing your research just to have this page ready so you can quickly jot down some different ideas. But it was built. It was Father Altamira was the person who decided he wanted to build this mission. It was built in the northern part of the state, and the reason why is because this was a time in our history when the Russians were coming down and they were hunting and they were fishing and they were taking a lot of our resources, and the governor of California back then wasn't too happy about that. And so he thought, okay, well, if we build a mission up north of San Francisco, that might discourage the Russians from coming in and trapping a lot of our resources. And so I put Russians with the line through it. Okay. They also decided on their location because they needed to have an underground spring. So that's a really important detail that we can add to our paragraph. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but the research that I read said that this was the most successful mission. So that could be an interesting piece that I could add into my paragraph that talks about how the mission was built. Okay, so this again, guys, is just one paragraph, and I can easily write 3 or 4 or 5 sentences just on that information I just shared with you. I want to make this essay at least a 5 or a 6 paragraph essay. So I've got my topic paragraph and I've got my first paragraph. Now my next paragraph is going to be on the Indians that lived in this mission. Okay, and the Indians were called the Miwok. The research that I did read said that they were mistreated by the people at the mission, and eventually they were mistreated so much that they revolted, and they ended up burning several of the buildings. But over the lifespan, there were averaged about 500 Indian workers at the mission at a time, and I actually need to go through and do a little more research, and I need to go. I'll probably type in Miwok into Google, and I'll see if I can find more information on the Miwok, and possibly how they're related to the mission. But I need to find some more information here about the Indians. Then my next paragraph is going to be about work that the type of work they did at the mission. They went through, and again, this is all stuff that I found through these websites. They raised sheep. They had an average of 5,000 sheep. The mission was 10,000 acres, which consisted of orchards and vineyards that they used to make wine. They had cattle, over 2,000 head of cattle at this mission. And again, I have plenty more research to do, but I could probably write at least 3 or 4 sentences based on this information. The last paragraph is just going to be on the history of the mission. Okay, it was built in 1830. It was built in 1823, but in 1834, it was turned over to the people. Mr. Vallejo, during that time, he claimed the mission as his own and kind of made it his own personal property. And when he did that, he imprisoned a lot of the Indians. And when the United States decided to colonize the area in 1830, they ended up throwing Vallejo in jail, and the mission just kind of it actually collapsed in 1830, and they rebuilt it again in 1841. But between the years of 1881 and 1909, the mission was sold off, and it was used as a barn, a blacksmith shop, a winery, a hennery where they raised chickens. And then in 1909 through 1926, they restored it and actually made it into a national monument again, or a state park. And that's what I've got, and what I have here is probably enough to write my entire essay on. So this is your planning page. Once you get this done, then you can start really diving into writing your paragraphs, and I'm going to get into that in the next video. But I would like you guys to get your topic figured out, get this page made up, and then bring it in and show it to me and share it with me, and we can talk about it before you start actually writing your paragraphs. Good luck, guys. Again, this is going to take some time, so be willing to put some good time into it. Good luck.